Indeed, how good it is when we can be together as one extended family as we celebrate Shabbat. It's good to just sort of note that the flurry of holidays that begins our year is now behind us, and we settle into a beautiful routine of celebrating Shabbat and everything else that goes with it. Tonight is actually a special Shabbat because it is our social action Shabbat, and so we will be hearing from our guest speaker and hearing a bit more about all of that later on. But I invite you now to find your prayer book and turn with us to page 121. As the Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. So indeed we'll turn now to the kindling of the lights of Shabbat. May they inspire us to kindle our own lights as well. And I'm delighted to call on the co-chairs of our Social Action Committee, Elaine Brooks and Judy Kirshner, to light the candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done.
Because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done.
So let us lift up the cup now. Each day doesn't great to hear. As we say, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei bri hagadol.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei bri hagadol. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahava u'ratzon, hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh, v'reishit, ki hu yom tefillah, le'yikra'e kodesh, zecher yetziat mitzrayim, kivanu acharta, v'atanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava u'ratzon, inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh Shabbat. Amen.
Joy. Thank you. Let's turn together now, friends, to page 138 as we continue to welcome Shabbat, this time not with light and not with sweetness, but with song.
Lecha dodi nigrat kala, penei Shabbat mekabela. Lecha dodi nigrat kala, penei Shabbat mekabela. Lecha dodi nigrat kala, penei Shabbat mekabela. Lecha dodi nigrat kala, Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad, Hishtianu el hanuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem tzedek l'tila. L'echad udi, l'echad udi rat kala, Penei Shabbat mekabela. L'echad udi rat kala, Penei Shabbat mekabela. Hitoreri, ki va'oreku mi'ori, uri, shir dareri, kevod elayich nivla. L'echad udi rat kala, Penei Shabbat mekabela. L'echad udi rat kala, Penei Shabbat mekabela. Go'i b'shalom v'atet bala, gam b'simcha u'b'sola, tov emunei ram segula, Borikana. L'echad odi rat kala, Penei Shabbat mekabela. L'echad odi rat kala, Penei Shabbat mekabela.
Shabbat is now here in our midst. Take a moment, allow it to bring a smile to your face, and then turn to someone in your area and share that smile. To wish each other Shabbat. There's one who sings a song of his own life, finding everything within himself. There's one who leaves the circle of herself and sings a song of her people. There is one whose voice rings with the song of humanity, hoping for the highest perfection. And there is one who rises even higher, uniting with all creatures, with all worlds, filling the universe with song. And Barach, let us turn to page 146 as we bless with the words of Baruch.
Ya la la la, 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 ya la la la. Baruch Adonai.
Welcome to the evening, page 148. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'dvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chochma potech sharim, v'bitvuna meshaneh itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'mesader et hakochavim, v'mishmerotehem harakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, v'olel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, u'ma'avir yom u'mevi layla, u'mavdil ben yom u'vei layla, Adonai tziva'ot shemo, Chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Amariv Amaravi. Ahavat olam, everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, eternal our God, when we lie down, when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night, we will reflect on them. They are our life. Doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Elohei Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Be seated. Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'otecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha, v'shinnatam levanecha v'dibartam bam. V'shitecha b'beitecha, u'lechtecha b'derech, u'shalpecha u'pkunecha, u'shartam le'ot al yadecha, v'hayu l'totavot b'einecha, u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'yisharecha, le'ma'an tizkeru עשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם. our history. But we know that the journey towards freedom, towards justice and righteousness continues day by day. And so we turn to page 157 as we read this introduction to our Milchamacha prayer together, praying that we can continue to find our way out of the many Egypts that continue to exist in our world. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands and marching together.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, Norah tehilot, o sefer, Norah tehilot, o sefer. Malchutecha ra'u v'alecha, bokei ayom lifnei shel Miriam, Zayeli, anu v'ameru, Adonai lo le'olam va'ed, Adonai lo le'olam va'ed, Adonai lo le'olam va'ed. Ve'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
So our sukkah is down, the actual structure that we sat in during this holiday. But of course we continue to pray for a sukkah, not just any sukkah, but a sukkah shalom. A dwelling place of peace, a place that we can build together, where love and friendship endure. Let's join together on the top of page 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukkot shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, לדורותם בדורם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בדורם, ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בדורם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת.
We are invited to pray as if everything depends on God, and also invited equally and as importantly to act as if everything depends on us. Let's turn together now to page 164 as our prayers solidify our resolve to act. I invite you to rise the words of Tikvah.
Adonai, sefatatita, ufia gitegilatecha. Adonai, open my lips, and my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Adon Yom, El Elyon, Romer Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chaserot Imahot, U'mevii Yehuda Livnei Bneihem, Le'man Shemo Ve'ahava. Melech Moser Moshiach U'Rakim, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Elam Adonai, Mechayei Hakol atah Rav Ve'Moshiach, Mashiach HaRuach, U'Arich HaBashem, Mechakel Chaim V'Chesed, Mechayei Hakol Ve'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Ve'Rofeh Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Mikamocha B'Gvurot, U'Midom Elach, Melech Megid U'Mekayem, U'Matzniach Yeshua, Ve'eman Atah L'Chayot HaKol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei HaKol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'kol yom v'hanut v'selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please be seated. Page 173 at the bottom will be our prayer for Shabbat tonight. Disturb us, Adonai. Ruffle us from our complacency. Make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude which arises from a shunning of the horror of the defeat, the bitterness and the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans. Shock us, Adonai. Deny to us the false Shabbat which gives us the delusions of satisfaction amid a world of war and hatred. Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and rubric prayers of yesteryears. Make us know that the border of the sanctuary is not the border of living, and the walls of your temples are not shelters from the winds of truth, justice, and reality. Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh Shabbat. And I find that we are most likely to be spurred to action when we are aware of our own blessings. On page 177, in a moment, we'll turn to the words of the prayer of thanksgiving. But before we do that, let's just take a moment to feel grateful for the bounty in each of our own lives. Could be physical things, could be sustenance, food, could be emotional, could be shelter, could be anything that makes you feel grateful and feel like your life is full. If anybody would like to share anything that you were feel grateful for tonight, I invite you to do so. Jeffrey.
I've been fortunate to have this partner for 43 years as of today.
Oh, Alta and happy anniversary.
For everyone, there is cake upstairs.
So you're sharing that bounty.
It's a small cake. Take extra.
Happy anniversary, all of you. Wonderful. Anyone else? Rabbi Danielle.
Grateful to be on this side of the bima for the first time in a while.
Yes, I hear it's nice.
One day you should know.
Grateful to have you. It's lovely to see you. Thanks for coming. Anyone else? I am grateful for the fall weather. I love summer. It's really hard for me to say goodbye to summer, but I took the best brisk walk this morning, and it was because the air was just cool and the sun was out, and the leaves are changing colors, and I said, "Oh, I like fall." So, for all of those blessings and others that may be in your life, let's read the top of the page together. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, Hatov Shivcha, U'lecha na'ed le'odot. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Ki atah hu melech Adon, lechol ha'shalom. Ki atah hu melech Adon, lechol ha'shalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. V'tov be'einecha levarich et Amcha Yisrael. B'chol עת ובכל שעה לשלום עליך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. The great Israeli poet David Amichai writes, "Don't stop after beating the swords into plowshares. Don't stop. Go on beating and make musical instruments out of them. Whoever wants to make war again will have to turn them into plowshares first." In the shalom of this place, let's pray for peace within, peace between us, and peace, we pray, may it continue throughout the world, especially in Israel. We pray in silence. Osa shalom, shalom birama, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al Yisrael, ve'iru amen. Let's turn our hearts and our thoughts now to those in need of our prayers for healing. From our own community, we pray for the continued healing, the health, the well-being of Jamie Lippman-Avish, Eileen Andak, Ellen Bassett, Benjamin Menachem Frank, Carolyn Barone, Miriam Shulamit, Bat Bela, Jay Bieber, Jane Bernstein, Arnold Block, Dennis Brenner, Jack Kazis, Jason Convoy, Nora Correa, Richard Domash, Pamela Dorman, Susan Sietzek, Janet Ewing, Kelly Fink, Arthur Fisher, Judy Fisher, Michelle Fisk, Parker Forick, Evan Foster, Barbara Goldberg, Florence Goldberg, Larry Goldberg, Sandra Goldberg, Florence Goldring, Stephen Goldstein, Jean Gormley, Elise Grace, Lee Hawley, Marilyn Heckler, Enid Hirsch, Matthew A. Hood, J.C. Horowitz, Phyllis Horn, Jason Israel, Stephen Israel, Toby Israel, Christine Jacobson, Danette Jamal, Luz Kaufman, Rita Kimmel, Tatiana Koltuniuk, Esther Krichevsky, Sandy Lay, Gail Levy, Robert Mandel, Robert Mannix, Barbara Massey, Susan Miller, Ashley Moranti, Adam Moranti, Hannah Rachel, Bat Miriam, Rachel Zahava, Bat Miriam, Shmuel Yitzhak, Ben Nisan, Patrice Newman, Nora Tzipora, Bat Ilana, Carrie Odell, Sophia Palladino, Esther Parker, Belinda Pescatori, Helga Pfeffer, Rabbi Lester Polonsky, Emily Raja, Carol Ryder, Jan Rhodes, Julie Rosenberg, Laura Rosenspan, Renee Rosenthal, Sylvia Rubel, Martine Rubin, Janie Rudick, Aline Schoenhout, Charlotte Miriam Schnupp, Tova Batshifra, Michael Spadali, Edmund Steiner, Rhoda Strobel, Mark Strominger, Calvin Tantoni, Arlene Iris Wisson, Rachel Leah, Bat Yosefa, and Jeffrey Young. And if you wish, I invite you to share with us additional names of people you'd like to pray for. Michael.
Full draw.
Thank you, Terry.
Jack Newman.
Thank you. Others on this side. And on this side. Elaine.
Nikki Womaski.
Thank you, Mara. Robert.
Sally, Roger, and Jason.
Holy One, a blessing be with all of those whose names we've shared aloud, as well as with those whom we're holding in our hearts. Bring them each and every one of them to their own healing, in a body, of mind, and spirit. Baruch atah Adonai Rofei HaCholim. Let's turn together to page 371.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mikor HaBracha La'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
So friends, this week we begin our cycle of studying Torah all over again. We turn to the very opening words of the book of Genesis, Sefer Bereshit. And there we read about creation. And we learn that God creates abundance throughout the world. There are all kinds of trees and plants that grow. Everything is available to be used for food, and it is wonderful and luxuriant and luxurious. And God asks for one other provision, which is this. God says to the humans who are created, this is yours. Take care of it. Don't waste it. Don't squander it. Make sure you use it wisely. So tonight, for our social action Shabbat, we are going to hear about from our guest speaker, Susan Berman, who will be introduced shortly, about food insecurity here in our own area. With so much plenty available in the world, people should not be going hungry, but unfortunately, that is not the case, and there are things that we can do about it. So we are so delighted that you're all here, and I'm delighted now to call Lynn Bieber up to the podium to introduce our speaker.
Welcome and thank you for attending our special social action Shabbat. And we're pleased to welcome Susan Berman, who is the director of the community engagement for the Sid Jacobson JCC. Susan is an experienced community organizer with high impact in the greater Jewish community. Since 2013, Susan has been passionate about matching the needs of our community with the resources available at the JCC. She has worked tirelessly to create and build the Center for Community Engagement and the Community Needs Bank. Her passion is contagious and can be seen in the core of skilled volunteers she has attracted. I've had the honor to work with Susan from the beginning, seeing her vision grow into reality. When COVID hit in 2020 and the food bank was in its infancy, Susan and her network of volunteers stepped up to meet the needs of our neighbors, making sure that all were taken care of, not just with food, but with a friendly phone call, helping getting needed prescriptions, or assistance with daily care. It's my pleasure to welcome Susan tonight to share the mission of the JCC Community Needs Bank and let us know how we can help. I'm a little taller than you. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
First of all, I just want to say, what a beautiful shul. I'm so grateful to be here tonight. And I did have my own services earlier, so I'm like a super Jew tonight. So I got to pray twice, and I'm grateful for that because some weeks are really hard, some days are really hard. We're amongst them together, and we're powerful together. So I'm so grateful to be here tonight. And thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Cantor, for the beautiful song. Lynn, thank you so much for inviting me here. Social Action Chairs. This is really important stuff, and you're in it, which is why you're here. So I'm thankful that I have somebody on IT and tech, because I can do a lot of things. Tech is not one of them. So I'm going to start with the video. If you can start with that, I think it's just going to set the tone, and then we're going to talk. And I'm hoping it'll be a little bit more interactive. But you guys are right?
I never, in a million years, expected to come across a situation like this.
I never thought that this would be a road that I would be on.
Never in my life did I expect that I would have to reach out for services such as needing the food bank.
Food insecurity does not always look the way we think it does. There is food insecurity right here on the Maternal land.
When I first started, I never expected so many people to be food deprived.
I came out to a beautiful, magnificent area to live. Back in 2019, Justin had a stroke. It became financially impossible to maintain the household. The food, food was like, wow, what do we do now?
As I got sick, I was able to go back to work briefly, and then with the current
She was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2004. I live 250 miles away, and we've tried to have Peapod deliver when the pandemic started, and the aides, they couldn't go to the store, they didn't drive.
And it's like, I can't make this phone call. I can't make this phone call. And then all of a sudden I said to myself, wait a second. And it was a hard decision to make. I just said, I need to make this phone call.
And the JCC called and said, would your mother like to get groceries? And I was like, wow, this is a real godsend.
The Community Needs Bank has two main missions. The first one is to understand the needs, identify the needs of the food security, and try to meet those needs. And the second is to be a vocational training site for interns with special needs.
My name is Nara, and I'm busy today because I have so much work to do for a food bank. I take inventory, I make sure anything's not expired.
I like to check expiration dates because it makes it so fun because you never know what you're going to find in a food bank.
We call every single client and we ask them, what is it that you need? And while we never guarantee, we do our best in actually being able to fulfill their needs.
It was a friendly phone call, and it was never just the food items. They would always ask how I was.
The people behind the scenes go beyond the call of duty.
Well, I'm happy that I can help out during this terrible pandemic, and I feel like I'm helping people.
The best thing for me is knowing that I'm helping somebody, and it amazed me how thankful people are.
I really felt like I needed to do something to make a difference, and obviously since the pandemic, this has taken on a whole new meaning, and it's been life-saving for so many, so it makes me really proud.
Because the bank is a part of the JCC, it is integrated into a full network of social services and resources that makes it a completely unique, one-of-a-kind facility.
Our connection and partnership with the Sid Jacobs and JCC is important to us for so many reasons, but it's enabled us to really expand our work in their service area, but really go down deep because the relationships that the JCC has with the community is really, really strong.
So I know the situation I am in now, it's not going to go away anytime quickly. But I'm confident something wonderful is going to happen to our families.
I do believe that what goes around comes around, so I believe that now in my life I need some help, but I'm hoping that I could pay forward, as they say, and the community should know that they're not alone.
My soul felt very nourished that somebody cared about my mother and someone was looking out for her. And it makes long-distance family feel much more secure that their loved one is being taken care of.
Imagine how many people we could nourish if our footprint doubled, or if we had additional equipment and resources to deliver fresh, perishable foods like fruits and vegetables and prepared meals, even holiday meals for families and homebound individuals.
Caring begins at home, and it begins with taking care of our neighbors. And who our neighbors are, who are food insecure, would surprise you. When we educate our community as to who it is that we're serving, that's really such a key part of our mission, because then people know that what they're giving is truly helping who is truly food insecure.
Every time I give a talk, I change it up. And I haven't brought this video out in a really long time, and it still gets me. Probably because so many of our volunteers are still our volunteers today. More so because all of those clients are still our clients today. Sadly, their situations have not improved, and we're along the line for
So thank you for at least listening to that. And Jay, if you can just put the first slide. Okay. So I'm going to start with a little story about social action. I, born and raised in New York, moved out to Texas with my husband and my children, and my husband shot me back to New York, to Long Island. I didn't want to come. And we landed, I won't tell you where I landed, and I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't amongst my people. I don't know what that meant, but I just didn't feel like I had a place and I had people. And so what I started to do in my own shul was I started to organize. Grassroots organization. I started to do some social action stuff. We didn't have a social action committee. I was very interested in food insecurity. The daughter of a Holocaust survivor, my mother kissed bread every time she would throw out a piece of old bread. Food was really important. And I realized that there were people out there like me who felt the same way. And so I started to organize my own synagogue and then started to also organize other synagogues. And we would go into Manhattan. We would make it a whole thing. We actually took the midnight run. Are you familiar with the midnight run? We took the midnight run model. We made it the daylight run because we did it during the day. We ended up changing it to feeding our neighbors because people thought they had to have sneakers in order to help out, and we knew it wasn't a run. So we would get up on a Sunday morning and we would go into the city and we would actually set up a huge amount of food and coats and winter gear right outside the men's homeless shelter on First Avenue. We did that for a number of years, and we always felt great. We felt great. Got back in the car with the kids, I put the heat on, had a little hot chocolate, and one day I said to myself, what am I doing? Why are we going into Manhattan? I don't understand. Why are we not looking at food insecurity here, right here? 15 minutes in any direction from where I am, there's food insecurity. That's 15, 20 years ago. 5 minutes from where we are, there's food insecurity. Right down the street from where you are, in your children's classrooms, there is food insecurity everywhere because the definition of food insecurity is different. It doesn't have to be the homeless person who's living in the Bowery or living in a tent somewhere, by the bridge. It's happening here in suburbia, and it's actually worse in suburbia because it's not identified. And because our social service system, are any social workers in the audience? It's a broken system. It's broken. And it's going to take a long time to fix it. But it takes people like you who are interested to learn about it, to identify it, and then to somehow make that difference. So I stopped going into the city and started bringing people locally. And many years later, the Community Needs Bank, we were just named the Nikki Schwartz Memorial Community Needs Bank, was born. And the mission of the Community Needs Bank was to be a vocational site, a training site for individuals with special needs, and simply to try to support the local pantries. 5 local pantries, that's what we had. Developed a relationship with Island Harvest. We became their first redistribution organization on Long Island. And so we redistribute their food on the North Shore of Long Island. Why? Because they weren't coming to the North Shore of Long Island. There's no food insecurity on the North Shore of Long Island. It's the Gold Coast. Miracle Mile. Unbelievable. The pantries were popping up left and right. And there was no food insecurity on Long Island. And then it gets worse. Food insecurity in the Jewish world? Chandra, Susan Berger, what are you talking about? Not possible. Food insecurity in Fort Washington? Not where I live. Food insecurity in Old Westbury? Oh, no way. Locust Valley? You crazy? Great Neck? She's nuts. Get rid of her. Roslyn? It was unbelievable. People did not want to see it. And what what we did was we dug our feet in, our heels right in there, and because, not because of me, but because of the community of volunteers who started to also want to see it and identify it, they said, okay, fine, let's see what we can do. So we started with those 5 pantries, and I worked with a lot of local shelters. There are a lot of shelters out here on Long Island for women and children and families. We built that from 5 pantries to 20 pantries since the time of COVID. Every other week, Island Harvest comes to JCC and unloads 4 or 5 or 6 pallets of food that our pantries can get. And in addition to that, we're now serving over 100 families, households, individuals on a weekly basis. So our original mission was not to serve people individually. We didn't have to. They were being taken care of someplace else. They weren't being taken care of. And so especially with individuals who are, I always get the question, who are the people who you're serving? And I'll say they're somehow connected to the JCC. Those 100 households are from our special needs, maybe on scholarship, they could be from our Cancer Wellness program, they could be from any of our social services. Somebody who came in, God forbid, it could be a divorce or domestic violence. Yes, domestic violence in the Jewish world. A lot of it. And individuals who are running or they're scared, they're not thinking about how they're going to feed themselves. And so it becomes a responsibility of someone else to try to help them through those times. It's our hope that we're just helping people through those times. So as Amy had said, they can then give back. And I can't tell you how many people have come back to do good because we've helped them through those times, and now they're able to pay it forward. The Community Needs Bank, I like to say, has those 4 centers that you see up there. It's food pantry, because everybody really thinks about food first. And food pantry is not only non-perishable food, as Brad talked about 5 years ago. Thank God it's 5 years already. We weren't serving anything except for shelf-stable food. It was our dream and our mission. Why? Because our clients asked for food that they could really eat. Good, healthy, healthful food. Many of them have dietary restrictions, and they need those fruits and those vegetables. So we're serving them non-perishable food, we're serving them perishable food through our lunchbox program. Has anybody know about our lunchbox program here? We'll talk about that. And then in addition to that, because we see the households holistically, we're making sure that they're getting their paper goods, all the things that you use every single day, and you run out all the time and get annoyed that, oh, I don't have any more paper towel. All of your personal care products, as well as all of our family and baby needs. So all of those things together, those 4 centers, incorporate into this Community Needs Bank. Can you go to the next slide? Lynn introduced me as a person involved in community engagement. Our Center for Community Engagement is equally important for the volunteers, the social action, the social justice people who come out, as well as it is for the clients. And building those relationships is really, really important because we have to, the social workers can't get to every client. But our volunteers who are there every single week, they're volunteers calling every week. Get a friendly phone call every single week. Then we have volunteers who are actually packing up all of their things every week. And then we have volunteers who are coming by and packing up those supplies, and then volunteers who are going and delivering those supplies. During COVID, it was a ring and run. Call from the car. Hi, it's Susan, I'm in the car, give me a wave so I know you're okay. Now it's a friendly visit. We're so much better than Instacart. And faster, and you get more stuff. So, and the relationships, it's all about the relationships, because we are able to know when Mrs. Schwartz didn't really look as good as she looked last week, or it took her a little longer to get to the door, or the grass isn't mowed. Something's not right. She had a loss. Somebody's in the hospital. And what happens then? Then we go right back into our network at the JCC and we make sure that everybody knows what's happening in the world of Mrs. Schwartz, so we can try to work with her. And and know that she's cared for and that she knows that she's cared for. So community engagement is really important. I'll take the next one. I don't want to go through all the slides because I want to be able to really talk to you guys and see if you have any questions for me. But I have a couple of mantras. The first one is that caring begins at home. And that's it. Caring begins at home. The second is that food insecurity does not look the way you think it does. It could be anyone. And we have to be really sensitive to that. And so, when I am delivering holiday food, it might just be holiday food. Maybe somebody's okay all year long, but when it comes to Rosh Hashanah or Passover, you can't do it. And we want them to keep those traditions, right? And we want them to do it with dignity and pride. So it could be families, seniors, individuals with mental illness. We have seen a significant rise in mental illness, however you define that. Single parents, college students, veterans, double working households, mothers and fathers who are working and still cannot make ends meet. It's a really sad reality. I actually got some statistics from Island Harvest recently, and they talk about the working poor, working but struggling. 32.5% cannot afford basic necessities. They talk about childhood hunger. 137,000 students across Long Island are qualifying for free or reduced price school meals. I can go on and on. It's not good. It's not good news. And the only thing that's good about it is that maybe more people are opening their eyes to what the problems are so we can try to give and help. Our donor base is down because everybody's struggling. So I used to use my cereal aisle. Cereal was something that people used to donate all the time. I had plentiful cereal. The sugary kind for the kids, I had the healthier kind for the adults. I don't have enough cereal on the shelves. Why? Because everybody wants that meal. You can eat it for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It's easy, healthy. And because it's so expensive to buy cereal now, I can't get people to donate as much cereal. It's a problem. Paper towels. Have you seen the cost of paper towels? Insane. It's one of the things that our clients ask for all the time. So very simple things. It doesn't have to be so big. We have to think about it as to the small ways that we can help somebody. So, and if your social action committee can help in those ways, then that's really important. I want to open it up for questions, and I definitely want to leave a little bit of time to talk about the lunchbox program. If you maybe one or two more slides. Go one more. One more. No more. That's good. Okay. So I mentioned that 5 years ago we were just non-perishable, shelf-stable food. We added bread. We always had challah. And then people started saying, I want fruits and vegetables. We added fruits and vegetables. Expensive. We started growing some fruits and vegetables. Okay, a little better. And then someone said, we really want prepared meals because I'm offering you a turkey. Here's a 13-pound frozen bird. Go. How about a nice Thanksgiving? Like, that's crazy. And donors, they think it's great. I just gave you 50 turkeys. Somebody can't cook it. Somebody doesn't want to cook it. Somebody doesn't know how to cook it. Right? Maybe they're a smaller household. So what we've learned by listening to the clients is that that's not what's helpful to them. What they want is individual ready meals. Right? Have you ever opened your refrigerator and there was a meal that somehow miraculously was there, maybe a leftover, maybe you brought it home, whatever it was? How'd you feel? Pretty good, right? So that's a gift that we're giving someone. So what we started with was this amazing program called a lunchbox meal. And basically what it is we're training you in your own home, in your kitchens, to cook 11 curated recipes from we have a pro bono dietitian. You cook and you freeze those meals at home
following all the guidelines that we give you, exactly as they're needed to be frozen, and then you deliver them to our lunchbox freezer. Now when our volunteers are calling Mrs. Schwartz and offering her through a list of things that she might need, oh, I have lentil lasagna, I have chicken soup, I have this, I have that, what would you like? Now she can have 2 or 3 meals that are homemade meals in her home. Life-changing? Completely life-changing. Rocket science? Simple, pretty simple, but it's a lot of logistics. I want to open it up to questions, and I want to also talk to you just to let you know that we are putting on the property of the JCC. Who has been to the JCC? I see some faces that I know. Great. I welcome you all to come. But within the next month, God willing, please wait before Thanksgiving if we can do it, we are getting an outdoor freezer. It's an outdoor freezer container. Why? Because we understand that perishable food is a nightmare. Somebody comes to your door on Shabbat, and they ring the doorbell and they've got a lasagna for you. Sounds pretty good. 3 minutes later, somebody rings the doorbell and they've got another lasagna for you. Now it's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. 10 minutes later, you got the same problem. We don't have enough space. And we have a lot of freezers, we don't have enough space. But with our retail rescue, which means that we actually have somebody who is going out into the community and picking up food. They're rescuing food. We have rescued, I think it's on there, 200 and something thousand pounds of food in the first 10 months of the program. And we have to get that food immediately to the pantries right now because we don't have the space. So now we won't have a problem because now we'll have the capacity. Because oftentimes, guess what? The pantries don't have the space because they're only getting their food out maybe once a week. It's a logistical issue in terms of the perishable food. But once we have this with our lunchbox, we'll be able to really, really be able to help even more people. What questions do you have for me? Please.
How do you volunteer?
Oh, God. We're not getting you out of here until you give us your name. Don't leave. So our Center for Community Engagement is actually made up of 3 different pillars. It is our Nikki Schwartz Memorial Community Needs Bank. It is our Center for Volunteerism, which is adult and family volunteerism, and it's our pillar of social responsibility. And so anybody who wants to volunteer will come in, actually have an intake, talk to us about what your interests are, what your availability is, and then we will match you. We're always looking and in need of drivers. We just do not have enough drivers. And what's nice about the driving is that, so I'm a little tech savvy, is that we have a Sign Up Genius and a WhatsApp group. And basically you get to, every week, look to see who's in need of food. Because sometimes somebody will say, I don't need. And you'll pick and choose the routes that you want to go on. Sometimes we'll call you and bug you and say we really need somebody, but other than that, it's completely up to you. So please see me afterwards. Yes, sir.
I'm just curious, where do you get the money to support all this?
You want to go home, right? We have a very, very generous board. I happen to be in an area of the JCC that is not revenue producing. And yet our board has not only allowed me to vision and to build, they've actually facilitated and helped us to do that. The Community Needs Bank was actually born out of an incubator fund. We call it the Basics Grant. And that helped me once we had the space at the JCC. By the way, the Community Needs Bank is not in the main building. The JCC, the address is 300 Forest Drive. The Community Needs Bank is in our annex, which is a building behind the main building. Anybody know that building exists? Okay, a lot of people don't. But that building allows us, gives us the space to be able to do that. So that Basics Fund allowed us to actually
build out the shelving, and then by building relationships with two major banks, both Island Harvest, critically important during COVID and throughout the pandemic, helped us with emergency food. I'll tell you right now that whoever in the state or in the county thinks that emergency food is what emergency food looked like was not Jewish. Not a Jewish mother for sure, not a Jewish grandmother for sure. Those packages were embarrassingly small, and even with some individuals who we know are having a small appetite, it was not enough to get somebody through the week. So we really rely very heavily on donors. I write a lot of grants. A lot of my time, unfortunately, is spent trying to write grants. We know that state funding, we won't go into politics, but the government right now is not necessarily supporting. We have some problems. We have some big issues here. And even if the federal government is changing some things, it is trickling down to the state, and our local food banks are definitely struggling. So we developed a relationship with Island Harvest and became a redistribution organization, got that emergency food. And just this past year, I've developed a very strong relationship with Met Council on Jewish Poverty. And so now I'm able to get kosher food. That relationship started last year with only holiday food, and now we're getting due to a grant that they received to see kosher food distribution on Long Island is something that I'm getting on a monthly basis. So is it enough? No, it's not. That's the reason why we're really digging our heels in, not only from a sustainability perspective, but also from a financial strategy to build that retail rescue. Because all of that food that would otherwise be thrown out into the landfills is now getting directly onto the shelves of the pantries, including our own pantry. Yes?
What areas do you cover geographically, and do you ever cross the border?
We do. So we started, when I mentioned to you that who are our 100 clients, anyone who calls the JCC on our warm line and says, I have a problem, social worker does a full assessment, and they might not have even said that they were food insecure, but food insecurity is now part of that assessment. If we deem that food insecurity is an issue, we will give them emergency food. And we'll get them that emergency food, even if they're not connected to us in a tighter way, until we can get them a resource that's closer. A perfect example is we had a family that called us from Wyandanch and needed food. We were providing them with food, and then finally, our volunteers, we have some volunteer burnout. It's very difficult to get volunteers to go everywhere that they're going. We're incredibly grateful. And I was able to get them a pantry that's literally down the street from them and delivers to them as well. So it was a win-win. You know who it was really hard for? It was really hard on the volunteers. It really gets me because they were, Susan, what are you doing? We have to give this family. We want to give this family. We'll do it. It's better for somebody to know where their local network is, and of course, we're there still as a safety net. So we will get food to anyone, but we go everywhere from Queens because we had several Holocaust survivors who we've been treating within the JCC world, as well as our Nancy Marks Cancer Wellness Center. Everybody knows that we have a Cancer Wellness Center at the JCC. We have a 5K on Sunday. It's a great community event if you want to come out just to cheer on individuals. We'll go anywhere. Valley Stream, Glen Cove, Deer Park, Flushing. Yeah. It's a lot. Anyone else? Yes.
How do you advertise what you're able to do for people? Because I found out last spring we had a caregiver day, and it was also an opportunity that if
not as well as we need to or have to or do, right? It's very interesting that you say that. So we have a 5K on Sunday. We're expecting 450 people. And every month I have a program that I started during COVID called Curb Your Mitzvah. Curb Your Mitzvah started as a way for people to safely come to the JCC and drop off donations at our curb. Didn't get out of the car, you know, we'd have to touch you, we'd basically drive up, we'd take it out and come back into it. And that was a way of us really getting food on our shelves during a time that was really difficult to get food on our shelves, and to get people to understand how important it was to be grateful for what you had and how to help others, right? With Curb Your Mitzvah, 5 years later, we're still doing that every month, and it allows people to come inside and see where your donations are going. So on Sunday this month, we weren't able to do a Curb Your Mitzvah because we're having all of these people come for the 5K. And so I said, we'll do a Curb Your Mitzvah at the 5K. Do I think I'm going to get a lot of food? I don't. But, and I have 450 people who are coming. And if they see that there's a bin out that says Nikki Schwartz Memorial Pantry and Food Pantry, maybe now they'll know that there's a food pantry and a community needs bank, and that giving a can is helpful. So we're using all of those opportunities. If you have any experience in marketing and outreach, you know, and outside of also coming to the synagogues, I go to churches, I go to country clubs, you know, scout groups, everywhere I can go and talk, I do. Anybody else? Love feedback. We love feedback. All the growth that we've done has all come from feedback. So we thank you for, and I say we because I'm representing all of our volunteers and my own team to say that we couldn't do it without community support. So thank you very much for having me here tonight, and I'm here if you want to ask any questions. And don't leave without giving me your phone number. Yes.
I just wanted to point out to the people here, I went to look it up, that I got something from the Common Point Lawn in Queens. And on Tuesday, October 28th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., they have a program they're partnering with AFIA to distribute mobility devices and other accessibility items at no cost to community members age 60 plus who need them. So again, our organizations out there, I feel it's a network. So
Absolutely, 100%. We all work together. We get calls all the time. We talk about, and I know when Lynn introduced me, we talk about trying to make the shidduch, right, the match between people who have and people who don't have. You know, people who you've used and could use to a little gently used. And there's a lot of that. And we just have to try to be able to see that where can we make those bridges. So we work with Common Point, we work with all of the other JCCs that have food pantries. Nothing is competitive. It all has to be collective. We are much stronger together. I will tell you that if someone calls me and they are in need of any mobility devices, there are places that I do send them to. There is a synagogue in Great Neck that I send them to that has a durable equipment pantry. There's also a place in Oceanside that I send people to. There's a place in Port Washington. So Adama is wonderful. We're working very closely with Adama as we're working with greening and sustainability. So all good. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Susan, for enlightening us and for all that you do and all your energy. It's actually it's very inspiring. Hopefully, we'll be able to continue to participate in that. I know that our Social Action Committee is also interested in getting all of your involvement as soon as this evening until dealing with this issue of food insecurity. So I think Judy, is it Judy and Elaine together, or Judy, you're going to come up and talk a little bit about how we can take action right away to address this issue.
Hi, Shabbat Shalom. And first I'd like to thank Susan for that amazing presentation. Much more than I knew about going on there, and I don't know how she manages to coordinate all of that. But at our last social action meeting, if you were there, we talked about opening up an even stronger channel of communication on a regular basis so that we can help out with, you mentioned baby goods and paper goods, whatever it is you need, whether it's on a monthly basis or on a seasonal basis. We would like to help out in any way that we can. Now, we've been hearing that food banks are really pressed for supplies, and it's very hard to meet people's needs. I only recently realized that my own nephew, who's mentally ill, is on SNAP. And when we talk about SNAP, it's being cut. That's the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. It's being cut by about 20%. It's going to reduce or eliminate benefits for millions of people, including our neighbors, and whether we know it or not, some of our friends, possibly family members, and it's a huge problem. So people are trying to deal with it in different ways, and the organization Mazon, which is a Jewish national nonprofit that seeks to help people who are experiencing hunger, whether it's permanently or sporadically, they have come up with a postcard campaign that we're hoping to help them out with a little bit tonight. And that campaign is, they're trying to get 47,000 postcards written. That's a lot, but they're national. Each postcard is supposed to represent 1,000 people, so you get to 47 million hungry people. And while the United States Department of Agriculture staff, whatever's left of it, may or may not read them, they're going to get a huge postcard dump all at once, accompanied by a press conference. So the hope is that this will make a very loud statement about dissatisfaction with SNAP cuts. And tonight we have an opportunity to write some of the cards, and it's easier than I really expected. First of all, this is the card, right? On the back, you get to write a message. They've got a whole bunch of suggested messages. You can pick one and copy it, you can combine them. You can make up your own, and there's a couple of examples of made-up ones I put on the back that they provided. And then on the bottom, you sign your first name, initial, and city and state. I put Queens, New York. I wrote 20 of them at home. It doesn't matter that it's the same person. Remember, each card represents 1,000 hungry people. You don't have to put an address because they're dumping it on the desk in a press conference. If you want, you can write USDA. So when you get into the ONEC tonight, there are 2 tables set up. There are baskets with cards. When you have a moment in between, chatting and eating, you can go over, you can write a card or 2 or 3, whatever you feel like writing, and put it in a box that says finished cards, and we'll pick them up. You also have a chance to take home a pack if you'd like. Once you see how easy it is to write these, if you want a pack, I made packs of 10. You sign for it, take it home, bring it back, and put it in the social action mailbox. Elaine and I are going to pick it up. And we're delivering it. You may remember Paula from North Country Reform Temple. She's coordinating it in our region. We're going to deliver them to her. She's going to get them to Mazon. Mazon is getting them to Los Angeles. And they're getting it to the United States Department of Agriculture. So that's the plan for tonight. And hope to see you at the 2 tables later. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy, and thank you to all of you involved with social action and for giving us the opportunity to not just pray as if everything depends on God, but to actually act as if it depends on us. Friends, we're going to turn back to our prayer book now for concluding prayers. As we turn to page 586 for Elena, I invite you to rise once more.
Alleluia, Shabbat, take you love and celebration. Hello, Hassan, Kevoye Haratzot. Hello, Samanu, Mishpachot Adama. Hello, Sam Chakinu Karen. Hello, Aleinu, Kevoye אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר ונלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
As our service draws towards its close, we think of our loved ones whom death has taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, those who died recently, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. In this period of Shoshim, the first 30 days of mourning, we remember Jill Fortgen, remembered by her family and her friends Wendy Pally and Lynn Myerson. We also remember tonight those whose yard sites, the anniversaries of whose passing occurs during this week. With love, we now remember Harold Bader, the brother of Robert Bader of blessed memory. Lawrence Barrach, the uncle of Andrea King. Lester Bertan, the husband of Lorraine Bertan. Loretta Cohen, mother of Michael and Terry Cohen and mother-in-law of Talia Cohen. John Comet, grandfather of Martin Goldschmidt. Abraham Farber, grandfather-in-law of Elaine Farber. Sadie Farber, mother-in-law of Elaine Farber. Ray Fastow, the mother-in-law of Edith Fastow and grandmother of Ramona Jones. Pauline Feinblatt, mother-in-law of Alan B. Fogelman. Henry Fink, brother-in-law of Sonia Fink and uncle of Shan Fricano. Brian Fishkin, husband of Merrill Fishkin. Samuel Goldberg, father of Stephen Goldberg. Helen Jacobs, grandmother of Justin Wax. Louis Kerbel, the father of Beverly Astro and grandfather of Merrill Root. Bella Kirshner, mother of Joseph Kirshner. Charles Margolis, father of Bernice Flock. Henrietta Mendel, grandmother of Ruth Cooperman. Louis Meyer, father of Ruth Cooperman. Jacob Knoll, grandfather of Betsy Jacobs Viviano, and great-grandfather of Jennifer Jacobs. Carla Osuna, mother of Ellen Osuna. Janice Polish, mother of Jamie Polish Jones. Jonathan and Joshua Adam Polish, and wife of Rabbi Jacob Polish. Irvin Rudick, the father of Janie Rudick. Harry Scheckman, uncle of Elaine Lasser and Stephen Reisman. Harry Schoner, uncle of Lori Panetta. Arthur Skurnick, the father of Debbie Skurnick-Wiesel. Werner Stahl, the father of Janet Stahl. Catherine Stinchcombe, remembered by our former cantor, Kat Hastings. Harvey Wald, the brother of Susan Shaw. And Robert Wolfe, the father-in-law of Madeline Wolfe. Is there anybody who would like to share with us the name of someone you are remembering this evening? I don't know, mention Ramona.
Deborah Nielsen.
Thank you. Zichronam livracha. May the memories of all of our beloved and the righteous everywhere continue to bless us all. Friends, let's turn together to page 598 as we rise as one community for these sacred words. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shnei rabbah, v'yamad yivrach v'yuteh v'yamlik malkuteh, v'chayekon v'yamechon v'chayei v'chol beit Yisrael,
Adalav Isman Karib Vimru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba V'Barach Ve'Elam Lamei Amen. Yivarach V'Yishabach V'Yitma'ar V'Yitramam V'Yitchased. V'Yitadar V'Yitaleh V'Yitalam. Shemei Kedusha B'Richu. Le'ela Mikol Birchata V'Shirata. Tushmachata V'Nechemata. Tamiran V'Yalma V'Imru Amen. Yehi Shalom Rabba V'Yishmaya. V'Chaim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael. V'Imru Amen. Oseh Shalom V'Mrama. Yaseh Shalom. Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael. V'Al Kol Yisrei Tevel. V'Imru Amen. Oseh Shalom V'Mrama. Yaseh Shalom. Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael.
For announcements this evening, I'm delighted to call up our Bima officer. Ready? Come on, join us.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
I wanted to thank Robin. Oh my gosh. The rabbi. That's a new name now. And the cantor for a lovely a cappella service. It was really wonderful. And thanks to our guest speaker, Susan Berman, and to the entire Social Action Committee for inviting her. And it was really very moving and just a very moving presentation. Tomorrow, Torah study is going to be held in person at the Beaver and via Zoom, beginning at the normal time at 9:15. And if you haven't joined, tomorrow, as the rabbi said, we're starting Genesis. So we're starting the beginning of the Torah. So you can really catch on right at the beginning. And it's really very moving and very pertinent to our lives today. Choir rehearsal and On the Mark will meet at their regular times. This week, our celebration of Temple Tikvah is tomorrow evening. And even though the dinner part is actually sold out right now, we're happy to say that so many people are coming, there is a ceremony that will be happening in this room about 6:45. So please come to that if you can't make it to the dinner. And there'll be a whole celebration, multimedia, and an oneg afterwards. So it should be very moving, fun, and very impactful. Sunday, the next day, is Sisterhood's annual paid-up membership brunch, beginning at 12 noon. Please join us and enjoy a very special performance by Catherine Kitt and Julie O'Donnell. On Friday, October 24th, through Sunday, October 26th, there'll be a religious school family kollel at Camp Eisner up in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. It should be beautiful up there right now. Religious school students, grades 3 through 8, and their families can celebrate Shabbat with a weekend of family bonding and fun. Brotherhood will be having a fundraiser on Wednesday, November 5th, between 4 and 8 p.m. at the Panera Bread in Mineola. If you want to go and participate and help out, there's a flyer you need to download from the weekly update. And if you show that, Brotherhood will get 20% of the proceeds. The flyer will appear in the weekly update from now on. And please enjoy your dinner. And you can either eat it there or take it home. And finally, Brotherhood is also sponsoring a guest speaker, Larry Wolf, to our temple on Sunday morning, November 9th at 9:30 a.m. Come get a bagel and coffee and hear Larry speak about some very famous brothers, Henry, Arthur, and Leonard Marx, who are probably better known as Groucho Harpo, and Chico. He loves to talk about them. Admission is free, but please tell the office if you'll be attending. And Mark Gold has said if you say the secret word, you'll win a special prize. That's only for those who remember Groucho. As always, please check the weekly update for additional information and, if appropriate, for virtual links for all events and RSVP information. So, Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom. We'll go upstairs for our Oneg. Let us turn to page 652 for our closing song. These words of this, I think, classic Israeli song, Aniva Ata, remind us that it's up to us. You and I can change, will change the world. Aniva Ata, Nishana Ata, Aniva Ata, Azayot Karula. Nishane